Shabbat Shalom, and we welcome you again to the Lehrman Chapel here at Temple Ohev Shalom. I am Rabbi Peter Kessler. Our accompanist and musical person is Christopher Prestia, and we're here to record the first Shabbat following Hanukkah. And let's take a cleansing breath. Life is a little difficult these days, so we want to make sure that we've got some ruach, some wind. So let's take a nice cleansing breath. Great. And let's begin by turning in our prayer books to page 121 as we light our Shabbat candles. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We continue on page 126. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to make the world a better place. To love God is to love the world created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us, and to bring that vision to life. Shalom Aleichem is on page 142. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sechem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Let's rise now and turn to page 264 for Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhma poteach she'arim, uvidfuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmarotehem barakia kirsono, borei yom v'layla, kolel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים. Page 266. In each age we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment we are addressed by the world. In each age we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment we stand face to face with truth. In each age we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment the knowing heart is filled with wonder. In each age the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. The Shema is on page 267. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated as we continue with the Haftarah on page 268. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Page 269. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all, yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound. Before our eyes there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul. When will redemption come? When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves. Long ago we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. We continue with Michamocha on page 270, immediately followed by Vishamru on page 272. Continue with Tefillah on page 273. Adonai, Sevatai Pachu, Fia, Mitei Matecha, Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher chastei avot ve'imahot, u'mevii ge'ula livnei bneihem lema'an shemo be'ahava. Melech ozer u'moshiach u'magen baruch atah Adonai, magen Abraham ve'ezrat Sarah. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. If you have your prayer book handy, let's turn to page 278 and let's continue together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. We continue on page 281. For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks. For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise. For the desire in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful. For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. Our God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha ne'el lehodot. Shalom Rav, page 282. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom. Now that Hanukkah is over, I wonder what we are going to do to keep the fire and the light burning for the next several weeks. Peter Yarrow of Peter, Paul, and Mary fame wrote at the end of his popular Hanukkah song, Light One Candle, "Don't let the light go out." It was almost written as a command and not a suggestion. Don't let the light go out. Now, I know you may be getting a little tired of hearing me speak about the pandemic and the ways in which we feel depressed about staying at home and not being able to visit our friends and relatives. I've talked about how important it is to stay in touch with each other and to do our best to wear a mask, to stay healthy, and make sure that we are kind to ourselves both mentally and physically. But this Shabbat, I want to talk about two ways we can make sure that the light in our lives and the light in our community remain bright and never go out. There are a lot of businesses suffering these days because of the pandemic, and they are suffering two ways. The first is that many of us don't leave our homes, so we rely on doing business online. This creates a lot of revenue for Amazon in particular, but it's so easy to buy with one click and have a package arrive at our door in a day or two than it is to get in the car and brush off the snow and put on a mask. Online shopping really makes a lot of sense. It saves time, it saves gas, and it does create jobs for the people who deliver packages. But it also destroys the local businesses we love. I remember when Walmart would come to smaller communities and literally obliterate the stores in the downtown areas. Sure, Walmart made shopping easier, but the local stores suffered, and the local economies of these small towns ceased to exist. Home Depot and Lowe's have taken over the hardware store business, and now that we can buy from Amazon, our smaller businesses are in big trouble. That's why I hope we can buy local whenever we can. It may cost a little more, but if it's possible to keep their lights from going out, it's worth it. Especially our restaurants. Their lights are about to go out now that we can't eat inside because of COVID and we can't eat outside because of the weather. Yes, I can buy 3 steaks for the price of the one I took out from a local restaurant for dinner a few nights ago. But I'm trying desperately to keep our local restaurants in business, even if it means spending a little more money and going out of the house to pick something up or waiting by the door for delivery. Believe me, it's worth it. Especially when you think back a year or two when we would ask our local businesses and our local restaurants for a donation to the synagogue or to a sports team at school, and they supported us. Now it's time for us to support them. It's a mitzvah to help those in our communities, and while we're at it, don't forget to keep your own light burning as well. This Monday is the shortest day of the year with the least amount of sunlight. That can make even the cheeriest of us to feel a little down. We have to work hard to keep ourselves busy by baking something or cooking when we're not taking out from a restaurant, by reading a book, or even just by lighting a fire in the fireplace. Anything to keep the light burning and bright. We're not living in easy times, and the Hanukkah menorah is back on the shelf for another year. Let's do what we can to keep the lights burning in our communities, our families, and in ourselves as well. It's truly a mitzvah, a good deed as well as a commandment to take care of ourselves and to take care of each other. Shabbat Shalom. Now let's take a moment to pray for the many people who are still in the hospital and the many people who are sick and in need of healing by reciting the Mishaberach prayer together. Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim, we praise you, Adonai, our God, who heals the sick. And by singing the Mishaberach prayer together on page 371. And nurses and the other caregivers in our midst, and we say a special prayer that the vaccine comes speedily and soon, and that someday soon those who are sick will be healed, and we can try to go back to lives that we enjoy better than the lives we have now. May God bring all of us blessings, and we say Amen. Let's turn now to page 586 and continue with Alain. ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This has been an especially hard week for the Jewish community of Harrisburg, with a number of funerals, and also a difficult week with the number of yard sites that many of you are observing that happen in this dark and sad time. As we recite the Mourner's Kaddish on page 598, let us continue to pray for hope, for peace, and for community, that we can take care of each other during these dark moments. The Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach cheruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, v'galo b'zman kariv v'yimaru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'me'almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei kudsha b'richu, ve'elam mim kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'yama v'yimaru amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al Yisrael v'yimaru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all of us who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved, and we say, Amen. And let's end with a smile and with a song, and Chris and I are going to try to bring a little bit of joy at the end of the service with Adon Olam on page 625. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yitzir Nivra, V'nitnasa, V'chetzachol, Azan Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'yacharei Kichot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nora Adon Olam, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hover, V'hu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yitzir Nivra, V'nitnasa, V'chetzachol, Azan Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'ya'ado Avkid Ruchi, V'eit Tishan V'a'ira Adon Olam, V'im Ruchi Yeviyati, Adon Olim V'lo Ira Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yitzir Nivra, V'nitnasa, V'chetzachol, Azan Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. And now, as I prepare to ask God's blessings on all of us, let us also remember to ask God's blessings on those in the non-Jewish community who are about to celebrate Christmas. Christmas is a holiday of light and joy. Many of us at Ohev Shalom have relatives who celebrate Christmas. We wish them a wonderful holiday, a holiday filled with joy and light. And now let me ask God's blessings on all of us. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, our God and God of our mothers and fathers, bless us with a Shabbat that is filled with peace and rest. And bless us with a week ahead that is filled with the promise of joy. And together we say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom.